my name is Tori Robinson, and I'm here today with Jim Azar, who is the Chief Technology Officer at Orasi Software. Jim is going to speak a little bit about a new testing tool that we think you're really going to like. Now, Jim, I'll let you give a brief overview about Orasi's history with automated testing tools and testing services.
Okay. Hey, Tori. Nice seeing you again. Yeah, I've been with Orasi for 22 years now, basically since the start of the company. And we've been doing testing tools, sales, support, and services for all 22 years of the company's history. We have hundreds of clients in the testing business, including a lot of very large ones. I don't want to mention any names here because we don't have permission to do that. But and actually going back to 1994 with the prior companies when we actually started this testing tools and services business, and it transitioned to Orasi in 2002. So it's been 30 years, believe it or not.
Wow, time just flies by, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, if you don't mind with that, maybe expanding a little bit on your role. And you did mention this, but again, just reiterating how long you've been with the company.
Yeah. So actually the company started in May of 2002, and I've been the Chief Technology Officer ever since. I was actually at the company when it first started, when it was founded, so I've been here forever. And I was also with the previous company. So yes, I've been with the company, I would say 30 years, but officially with Orasi for 22 years now. And over the years, I've been responsible for product development for the entire time we've been here. We've developed a few things over the years. And I have also previously at Orasi run a very large testing services operation where we actually had consultants doing testing for numerous well-known clients over the years. So we have quite the experience with testing tools and services.
Absolutely. And to that point, why exactly did Orasi decide to build an automated testing tool?
That is a great question because, as you know, there are dozens of testing tools already on the market. So you might say, why do we need another one? Why would Orasi do this? We have several reasons, but because of our experience and my experience with testing tools over the years, we don't really need another testing tool. However, the tools that are out there are, I don't want to say lacking. They've got great features and functionality, but there is a gap. And the gap is utilizing the skills of the traditional testing tool users. And what I mean by that is over the years, we've represented a number of tools in the testing space. Those test tool users typically have skills that allow them to create tests, and they're not necessarily developers. But over the last 6 or 7 years, we've noticed a large number of our clients moving from the traditional commercial type testing tools over to Selenium. Those tool users of the traditional testing tools can't always move over to Selenium because Selenium requires development skills. I mean, software development skills such as Java, C# or something like that. So this is where we saw not only we see an opportunity, but we saw a need in the market for a way for people to switch over to Selenium, because obviously companies want to do that. We could go into the market details of it, but more people are switching to Selenium than any other tool. So we decided if we could find a way to transition those skills over from traditional testing tools to Selenium, then we would be filling a need in the market. So that is the reason why we decided to actually get into the business of developing testing tools. And not only that, we just have hundreds of clients that use testing tools. We kind of know what they need and what they do and what they're finding in the existing tools. And there is another huge reason for it, and that is the traditional testing tools all have license fees, except for Selenium. And we believe that say we believe, but it's got to be the truth. The reason everybody's going to Selenium is because there are no license fees, because actually Selenium is much harder to use, requires greater skills, and it's actually more expensive to own and operate Selenium than it is the traditional testing tools. So they're doing it because they want to get away from the license fees, but also because they want to protect their investment. We call it vendor independence. What that really means to the customer is, and I always give this example of a medium-sized company. They have 10 testers on a project. They're over the course of 1 year, they've probably spent $1 million on those people, the benefits, the vacations, the holidays, the testing tools, the office space, everything they need. They've probably spent $1 million on those testers. Therefore, they've got $1 million invested in whatever test scripts or automation that those 10 people have created. That sort of locks them into that vendor, because if for some reason they decide that they're not happy with that vendor anymore. They have the problem of, how can I dump that tool when I can't execute any of that $1 million worth of testing that I created over the last few years? So that we see as a huge problem in the marketplace that nobody else really has a great answer for. The answer is you go to Selenium and you just pay a lot more to use Selenium, and you have to hope that a majority of your test tool users are able to switch over to Selenium. So we saw a great need there in the marketplace.
Right, right. Yeah, so I see you did mention Selenium a few times. Do I actually need to know Selenium or another programming language to use Alchemy?
No, and that's one of the great things about Alchemy. You can create perfect Java code utilizing Selenium libraries without any programming skills whatsoever. And a lot of test tool users have some programming skills, but it's not the detailed skills that you would need to use a real programming language like Java. I'm not saying that VBScript or whatever some of the other tools use are not real programming languages, but they're not as difficult to use as Java and Selenium. So no, you don't have to have those skills to use Selenium. I mean, to use Alchemy at all. You do have to have great skills to use Selenium. You basically create your test by recording, by drag and drop, and you never have to write any Java code if you don't want to. However, one of the things that people will find with these no-code solutions that don't require any programming skills is you're very limited. You're limited to what you can do with no code, but with Alchemy, we provide the best of both worlds. You can use the no-code methods. You can use the drag and drop. You can create great tests that way. However, if you are sort of nerdy and you want to get in there and program and and create some detailed customization, you can do that in Alchemy. So you're not constrained by Alchemy either.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, and switching gears just a little bit, can you just speak a little bit more about Alchemy GridWorks Cloud?
Yeah, Alchemy GridWorks Cloud is, when someone creates a test in Alchemy, they have the choice of how to execute that. They can either execute that locally on their local machine, or they can execute it in the cloud using maybe a cloud that they have created internally. We find a lot of users do that now. They have their own internal cloud, which is very difficult to maintain. Or they may use one of the commercial cloud vendors, and I don't mean AWS or Azure. There are some others. I'm not going to mention their names here. We're not going to do a commercial for them, but there are some very expensive Selenium grids in the cloud that you can buy time on. And believe it or not, a number of people just pay the price and do it because it's so difficult to set up those grids. So with GridWorks, with Alchemy GridWorks, we make that extremely simple for the Alchemy user. The Alchemy user can create their test and execute it in the cloud on a grid with literally push of a button. There's no setup, no maintaining a grid, none of that. So it's extremely easy to do.
Wow, no, that's great. And kind of move into the DevOps side, can Alchemy be used in a DevOps environment?
Yes, since you are creating Java Selenium code, one of the nice things that Alchemy does for you is it will go ahead and compile that code and create an executable for you. You don't have to go install Java externally or make sure you got the right JRE set up or anything like that. You just push a button in Alchemy, it will create a jar file for you, which is a Java executable file. You can execute that from any DevOps pipeline. And in addition to executing that from the pipeline, it will also create an XML or JSON file with the results in it so that the DevOps engineer can then process that and do whatever they want to do with it. They may log the issues, they may record the fact the test ran and succeeded, they may notify developers. So we are not only giving them an easy way to execute the test, we're giving them a very DevOps friendly way of absorbing the results and utilizing those results.
Excellent. And then looking at kind of the customer support side, is that available for Alchemy?
Well, since Alchemy is a free tool, and I don't think I've mentioned that yet, there's no licensing or anything. So Alchemy, there are no license fees. We don't provide free support like that, not directly by telephone support. However, we do provide community support, which means that you can post your questions in a community forum. Now, the truth is that our engineers, our developers, our testers, our internal support people are monitoring those forums and answering questions, and other users are answering questions as well. However, our history of being in this business for 30 plus years, a number of corporations and our customers over the years have been, medium to large. They like to have support contracts. So we will provide low-cost support contracts for our customers so that they can actually get telephone, contracted support for Alchemy through Orasi, the way they would a traditional testing tool if they want. And that's something that's not really available with Selenium.
Right, right. Okay. So mentioning those no license fees for Alchemy, how does this make business sense for Orasi? What's in this for Orasi?
That's a great question, and we always get that question. So the little background is we are well aware of the growth in Selenium. In fact, when you look at the market for testing tools, you'll find that 26% of customers, this is as of 2023 or so, 26% of customers choose Selenium over the other testing tools. Now you say, oh, well, that's not a majority. However, it is about twice as high a percentage as any other testing tool out there. So the more people choose Selenium than any other testing tool. So how does this make sense for Orasi? Well, there are, as of the end of 2024, 65,000 companies have chosen Selenium. Now that's companies, not users. So there are hundreds of thousands of users, Selenium users out there. And I've already outlined some of the problems, the skills required to use Selenium, the problems in transferring over from or migrating over from a traditional testing tool into Selenium is a kind of a overwhelming task. So people are still doing it. They're still getting it done. However, for Orasi, we see the opportunity to gain thousands of users very easily, especially since we have no license fees. The same reason they're choosing Selenium, they can choose Alchemy. There's no license fee, plus we're protecting them from vendors changing their licensing terms, changing their tools, making it more difficult to continue to use their product. So we see tons of opportunity to get thousands and thousands of users. Now, when we have thousands of users, that's going to be worthwhile to us, because now we have the opportunity. We're going to have more people that want to use our support. More people are going to want paid upgrades, and I mean paid functionality that we will develop, not necessarily specifically for them, but paid that we will put on the market for things that only corporations would use. I use single sign-on as an example, but there are dozens of features and capabilities and facilities that a corporate type user would need. So we see out of those thousands of users, some percentage of them are going to want more than what we're offering with the free Alchemy tool. And plus we have GridWorks, which we've already discussed a little bit. It's extremely to execute those tests in GridWorks and to execute parallel tests. It's much less, it's much lower cost than using one of the traditional Selenium Grid in the cloud products. And of course, that's not free. We have cloud costs with that. So that's another way of generating revenue for Orasi. So we see tons of opportunity in the future. Right? It's not all about charging each user as much as we can possibly get out of them or as much as the market will bear. It's about getting these users to use our tool and have the community help support them. And then that gives us plenty of opportunity to do other things, services, paid support contracts, additional functionality, and the cloud. So we have no doubt that this will pay off in the long run for us.
No, that's excellent. And no, thank you so much, Jim. And I would just say as a closing question here, where can people go to get more information about Alchemy?
Well, I'm going to give you two sources, and hopefully we can put up a slide so we can put these out there. But www.alchemytesting.com. That's our main website for Alchemy. There's tons of information there. There's an explainer video near the front page or on the front page. You have to scroll one time, I think, to see it. And then we have a YouTube channel. That's www.youtube.com/@alchemytesting. So those are the two main sources for information right now. That's where we're putting information out for people to find.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Jim. Really appreciate your time. Looking forward to learning more about Alchemy. So as you mentioned, if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and look out for more content. And thank you for tuning in.
Okay, thanks, Tori.